Alright, I restarted the recording. This is part 2. I think it may be my internet at this place. It might be cutting in and out, which it likes to do sometimes. When I'm using, if you see me on my phone, that's not on Wi-Fi, that's on yeah. So anyways, so where we are right now, we gessoed the background paper. We then used the Chevron stencil by Maria Maguire, Stencil Girl stencil. We wiped off some of that gesso with a baby wipe. I then added yellow and orange ink tints, a little bit willy-nilly, not worrying about it. Let me just make sure that, all right. And now there's a lag. Now there's a lag in chat. Yes. Okay. I love these. At least we're not all in separate chats when that goes crazy. That's always even more entertaining. I am just going to art on. And if somebody has a question, yeah, I'm going to see it. Thanks, Kim. So I'm just taking a regular paintbrush with water. I'm just going to smear it in. So you could use more of one color and less of another if you want. You can only use one color if you so choose. It's all up to you. So this is pretty orange, which means that I'm going to probably water it down a little bit more. This is Inktense Block. If I didn't already say that, I believe I did. Since my internet connection. So I'm going to fix it. We're going to try a different internet provider. I was a little bit worried since I moved about the connection. I know when I was streaming prior, I had issues with my poor little netbook not being fast enough, so I was able to get a newer laptop, so that's not the issue. So we'll get it worked out. So I'd say welcome everybody. I know if there's a lag, it's pretty frustrating for everybody. I truly appreciate you being here. Saturday, I will be back on Saturday, so let's hope that this is not an issue then. Gotta get back into the swing of things. So you can already see a little bit where the stencil is popping through. That's where we wiped off the gesso back to the cardstock of the journal. This is again the second part, so I didn't say that this is actually a Dilutions journal. So because Inktense, we just had this conversation in the, hi Debbie, in the first part about Inktense and how Inktense is permanent, but it has to be completely dissolved and dry to do so. So while it's still saturated, we have lots of color here and not quite dry. I'm going to get a baby wipe and take the same stencil. Tonight we're just going to use the same stencil because I love it. Again, Chevron and doily together. Alright, so this black paint, that was just from a prior project over the weekend. So I'm now just taking my baby wipe, pushing it through the stencil and rubbing off the Inktense. So if you remember, not only now do I have spots where there's no gesso because, you know, I didn't quite fully cover the paper with gesso, but also there's going to be the spots that I just uncovered. Excuse me, that's not the right word. The spots, yeah, that I uncovered the paper through the gesso. So you're going to have two different textures with this. Don't forget to do the middle. Psychedelic. Hi, Lucinda. Uh-oh. Don't tell me. I'm going to go one closer for you guys. Hi, Laurel. So good to see everyone. I know if it's lagging, you're going to hear me react to your comments way later. I don't know. So I'm just going to do this a few times. Now, if you're finding that you're not getting as much ink tints off, you may just have to switch to a different baby wipe. The drier the baby wipe, the harder it is. You can also, sometimes if I have a clean glass of water near me, I will dip the baby wipe. Baby wipe. I'm laughing at something in chat. I apologize. I will dip the baby wipe into my glass of water. So this is all about building texture with different products and adding different layers, but all with using the same stencil. Oh, this is going to be a perfect example, or a very clear example of what I mean about how it differs, how the look differs whether there's gesso there or not. When I take the stencil off, I always find that it's, you get a little bits of paint or maybe fluff from, your random baby wipe fluff. I apologize, there's a lag in the chat apparently, my friends, so I'm not seeing things necessarily right, or maybe you're not hearing what as quickly, but apparently there's a minute lag. Alright, so if you see the really bright part, that's where the gesso is, and this little bit darker part, that's where the orange has sunk into the paper more. And as we build up layers, you'll see how that is even more, it'll be even more defined later with the extra layers of paint. It would have been a little bit more pronounced if I had wiped off the gesso earlier, but you can also bring it out more, say this particular spot there, by wiping, wiping back the ink tints with the baby wipe, just here and there, touching it up. Very sunny. Uh-oh. Oh, Laurel. Okay, this is so I have not streamed for a long time. Apparently, it's been almost a year. Last May, and I know I have our wonderful friend I Carry Love and Laurel moderators, but don't feel obligation. I would love to have you. Don't get me wrong, but don't ever feel. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, that's why, because I've just had it automatically set up. So please don't be offended. Don't be. I hope you are not upset. That's all. Oh, lag is normal. I have to get used to it. Okay. That black is from my hands, but we'll be all right. So now we've got our layer of gesso, ink tints. Remove the ink tints. So for the next layer, I like to add a little bit of stamping. I still love to stamp. I'm still addicted to buying stamps. However, I shall take that back. I still love stamps. I just haven't been buying. But I did buy this, quite a while ago. Probably the last time I streamed, I showed them to you all. It's the Bo Bunny collection, um, geometric patterns. But I like how this particular one has chevrons as well as this square one. So I still stamp. I still add my black. I still got my itty bitty. Thanks so much to Linda for reminding me to make sure I have my itty bitty background stamp ready. I need to make myself a note that I don't have any blocks anywhere close. So find my blocks for Saturday. So I'm just using, now that we have color, sorry guys, I'm going to back out one just so you can see. Alright, just wanted to show you. I'm still using my favorite archival black ink pad. When I travel, if I don't have a block like this particular time, I am known for using the lid as a block. So I'm just going to randomly stamp this a few different times. Off stamp it. Night Di, thanks for coming. I don't know if she sees. I don't know if she sees. Somebody explain to me which is the lag? What you hear I'm responding to? Like, who's the lag for? Am I responding to your comments way late, or are you hearing my comments and then seeing what people asked? It's wonderful, Lucinda. So that was just my archival black ink pad. Not worrying about where I particularly stamped that, because now we're going darker. This, normally last times I say I work from dark to light. Sometimes I work from dark to light, but most of the time I work from light to dark. Alright, so I do have my paint set up. My second layer is going to be not stenciled. Oh, and some people have no video, only the talk. I'm sorry. Oh. So this is a Liquitex soft body acrylic paint. And our wonderful friend Leslie Herger from Comfortable Shoes Studio, if you're watching, I bought it because it was on sale. I always have less, and there's I still, after all, 5 years now, don't buy the fluids. Mix it yourself. Is she still there? Alright, I'm way behind you guys. Okay, so I do have a little bit of that soft body paint. It's really smooth to work with, that's for sure. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are or how you are. Oh my goodness, now you're testing my thing. By 10:08 and now it's 10:09. So yeah, it's a lag. I'm seeing it a minute later. Night, Dee Dee. So you're talking to me real time, but I'm just not seeing it till later. Okay. So I just took this brush out of water, but I'm dabbing it off now. I want a pretty dry brush. If I wasn't paying attention to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I probably would have dried my brush before dipping it in the paint. But anyways, right now I want to add just a slight wash, a very light something to the background. There's no rhyme or reason when I do this. I just make sure that some of the parts go over the edge, and I'm sorry about that, way off screen. Type something at the same time. I am saying something. Oh, that's bad news. Now it's saying that I'm logged out of myself. Wait a second. Did Laurel boot me? Has anyone done that? Can a moderator boot somebody out of their own chat? Just teasing. Oh, probably not gonna show now. Let's get back. I'm just gonna do this. I just want to add a little bit of extra color here. You don't have to use acrylic paint. I could have easily used Inktense, my Inktense blocks for this, but sometimes you got to be careful because it'll mix then and be muddy. And I can't see my chat at all anymore. Oh, good times for me. Again, I truly appreciate everybody here. I apologize for the kinks. We shall work them out, even if that means I have to research a new platform. Did I say logged out of myself? No, I didn't. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm getting a new baby wipe. I just put a little bit of paint on there. And I'm noticing, actually, just from looking at the camera in a different perspective, I'm noticing that I need some here on the bottom. It looks kind of like it was just particular in the middle, but it really is interesting to see your artwork in a different perspective like that. All right, I'm going to dry this heat gun. Just want to make sure, again, because of earlier how I've rubbed through a little bit because that gesso had already dried, I got a little bit of pilling, so I'm just kind of wiping away that little bit of paper. Thanks, Jean. I will definitely try that, figure out how to work that. So I don't know if it's my signal, it's showing 5 bars. Alright. So I'll show you what I did lower my quality, so I'm not sure how close, how clear you're seeing that. But as a test, halfway through, let's get the yacht light and see if it's any better. Let me know. I know there's a minute to let me know that if that helps or causes too much of a glare, too bright, not too bright. All right. I do this a lot because it's hey JJ. I do this a lot to test if it's dry. I can feel the dampness in my hand. Once I get everything going correctly, yes, I will be uploading everything to YouTube now in its entirety. my wonderful streaming buddies here have informed me that they only last, the video recordings only last for 30 days. So, not so clear, bad, worse. Okay, I'm gonna go put this back. Okay, let's go on to the next layer. Oh, now the light was good. Oh my goodness. I won't worry about the chat because I know it's lagging and you're probably talking to me and I'm responding, but it's going to take a minute before I can see what you're saying. So, excuse me, I apologize for my cough. I'll catch up. Alright, so I'm going to get out my good old makeup sponge. Now you guys are going to be laughing at something I said a minute ago and I won't even know. So this is just a Liquitex Basics. One of the colors I use a lot, cerulean blue hue. I did take my camera off autofocus. Excuse me. So if I can't get it to work correctly, I may have to invest in a new camera. Alright, so I've got my makeup wedge. I got some cerulean blue hue paint. This happens, the Liquitex Basics, that's a student grade paint. One thing I love about these circle type designs, doilies, that type of thing, is that it just seems to look really good as a background. The random's not the right word. Although the random aspect of the chevron design is awesome. I just find sometimes when you have the square stencil, it's boxy when it's square. It's nice sometimes. It's nicer. I like the look better of the round, so I especially love this stencil. I'm so happy to see everybody. Let me just use my one quick sec. Alright. So I'm just going to spounce, and I say spounce because I don't have any spouncers currently, but I still say spounce. Pounce up and down with my paint. I do love my spouncers, that's for sure. Alright, just through the stencil. I did not add any water to my makeup sponge. Just gonna go up and down. Pounce up and down. It is really, I have to apologize, guys, because normally I'm really good at watching chat, speaking, thinking about what I'm doing, and thinking about what I'm doing next. But it makes no sense when the chat is a minute behind. Because you guys are saying stuff. You're not responding to what I'm saying now, you're responding to what I'm saying a minute ago. Sorry. I gotta get better at this, I promise. But I do love the round edge better. Alright. Okay. So what I was saying is going straight up and down, pouncing straight up and down rather than any type of rocking or side to side motion, especially because some of these stencils are very thin. Stencil Girl also has set after stencils, which is a perfect example of why, you know, straight up and down is important, because there are some really fine lines in his designs, which I absolutely love. These are some tiny 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Lynn. So as I was saying, I just like to I like to practice the proper technique, even though the stencil may not be as fine as a different stencil. So then I don't get too sloppy when I am using a very fine stencil like that and then happen to ruin the project. Alright. But this is my art journal, so you know I don't worry too much about that. Is Maria here by chance? Maria Maguire, she's a designer of this. I think she said she was going to come. She can put up the link to the Stencil Girl site. But of course, Stencil Girl, owned by the wonderful Mary Beth Shaw. Love it. All right. Oh, thanks, JJ's hubby. It's like seeing into the future. Oh, Carolyn Du. You know I love Pam Carricker. Always have. She has some awesome stencils, new stencils up at Stencil Girl as well. I'm not necessarily. I haven't bought any of the face stencils that have been on the market. You know, the different profiles, but I really like the Pam Carricker and the new ones that she's got. I think it's really cool, especially her designs. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what her name is. Somebody's gonna say it. It's, oh my goodness, it's Sharon. How many Sharons are all my Sharons here? So happy to see everybody. All right, so rather than using a heat gun, I just talked you all through that. No, it's still not dry. A little bit of a heat gun. Heat gun. Now, did I say it right? Is it Dube or Dubé? I'm telling you. No. Sharon, Jean is now Jean, the art journaling machine. Alright, guys. I'm so excited to see so many of my friends. Not that I'm not excited to see everybody, but it's so wonderful to. Somebody said earlier it's like a reunion. It's wonderful. All right. Excuse me. So for my last, I shouldn't say it's my last layer. Let me back up. So for my next layer, I'm going to go back to my gesso. I do have some wasted gesso over here that you can't quite see. Thank you very much, Christine. I truly appreciate that. I was wondering today, and I can't see your chat, so I won't get caught up in the debate about it. About stencil, are stencils the new rubber stamps? Like, are they the things that you have to? Am I going to have every single style, like the thousands of stamps I have? That's who wants to know my answer? I think I already know my answer. All right. So I'm just taking, this is a new cosmetic wedge. Night, Jamie. I am going to flip over my stencil. If I started dabbing right now through this stencil, with this, my gesso would be blue. But I'm going to turn it over to the not so dirty side so that it avoids that. But I'm not too worried about whether it goes too willy-nilly. So far we've used the entire stencil whether I've, you know, wiped it off in this particular section, wipe the ink tints off the gesso, or where I've wiped the gesso off the background page. I've used the entire stencil. So this time, I already knew the answer, but I was just wondering what you guys. Yeah, there's lots of them at CHA, and that's what's exciting. When did we start Stencil Saturdays? We, you know, it's so exciting when there was only Crafters Workshop, and now there's so many awesome. Not that Crafters Workshop isn't awesome. Still love their stencils too, but there's just, when I say Crafters Workshop, I mean the ones like for journaling and stuff, not the awesome ones, you know, like they've gotten so far, so it absolutely is very exciting. Okay, enough of that. So rather than using the entire stencil, I'm just going to randomly pounce in certain areas just to get a little bit of texture. So I guess doing might be easier than explaining right now. Don't get me wrong, I still love my stamps. That's not and I still love my scrapbook paper. That's not going away either. All right, so I did a little bit too light there, but so now it's more about a shot of texture, like say you would use sequin waste or a different type. Bubble wrap, some people use that type of thing. That's kind of the look I'm going for, but I want it to tie it all together with the one particular stencil rather than getting out multiple. Now I am using gesso. You could use white paint, you could use whatever you want. It's just I happen to have the white gesso there. Also, some, you know, if you do the same technique and somewhere you added in some type of dilutions or Adirondack sprays or color washes, that would come through the gesso. So I kind of tend to use gesso in a lot of areas like that. So again, I'm making sure that things touch, that I'm going off the edge. Even when I'm adding this little bit of texture, I'm making sure I touch the blue stencils that are already there. I know what Laurel's gonna say. Stencils are like candy. I can see you, Miss Shutterbug. Hi, Lay. Aw, it's so good to see you. So I'm just catching. Oh, there is a place for both. Oh, I put them together. I love them. My point was, are they gonna be like stamps where like I have to have them all? It's never ending, never ending. All right, so you can see that I just added we've got the different layers. We have it through the, excuse my inky fingers and fingernails, through the ink tints. We've gone on top. Now we've got a little bit of white thrown in there. £10 of potatoes. I don't eat potatoes very often. Okay, let's begin with some butter. All right. I see now that I wish that this color would have been a little bit brighter. But that's one thing I like about art journaling, is I learn from those things. One thing that people ask me a lot is how often do I go back through my art journals? I usually say not often enough, but you know, every couple of months I'll get them out. And this is the kind of thing that reminds me, oh hey, I'm going to learn from this and know next time that, oh, it should have went a little bit brighter. So I leave it and work out the uglies and add another layer. Thanks, everyone. Alright, so I'm going to make sure this gesso is dry. So heat gun. Aw, sorry that people are still having issues with the some people are still having issues with seeing and hearing the video. And I don't know if it's my connection, if it's Ustream, if it's what's going on. So I apologize for that. I wish I could control it. All I can do is pressure Simon to check out a different company. So hey Corey. All right. So at this stage, I don't even know if you guys can hear half the things I'm saying because it's flashing on my screen now. But what I was about to say is that at this stage I'm going to add my itty bitty stamp, and I'm going to add the title. I wonder if there is a difference if somebody has, you know, an Apple, or if they're using a Mac. All right, so because I was saying that this is a little bit too dark, the color combination's a little bit off. I'm gonna go back into the yellowish orange. I'm gonna add a little bit of splots on top of the yellow and orange. I think I'm just gonna get out some craft paint real close. Oh, or not, maybe. No, I think I'm just gonna use some spray inks here. I think the only... Oh, you know what? I also believe in using what's around you. So the closest thing I just saw is a cranberry color wash, which I know is a very dark color, but it'll be pretty bright. So instead of spraying mobile, and I don't know, it could be Ustream, I'm not sure, but getting back to streaming is very important to me, so I'll make sure to figure out what to do. Okay, so instead of spraying directly, I just want some splots, so I'm going to put my finger over the sprayer, and it's going to get messy, and my niece is probably going to ask me why my finger's red tomorrow. But so as I hold my finger against the sprayer, I'm just letting it drip a little bit. That was the first color I saw in my little box here, so I thought I'd use it. And that's full strength. I don't know. Everyone says their Mac is working fine. I can't wait till my 3-year-old niece tomorrow says, Auntie P, what did you do to your finger? Alright, we're going to let that dry for a second. So the quote that I chose today, because a lot of the art journaling I'm doing now, well, you know me, I like to do titles, and I like to do quotes or some type of inspirational message or mantra to myself. Oh, sorry, Jean. So tonight's quote, you know, we had a little heart-to-heart earlier when I was testing my stream. So today's mantra or quote or whatever you would like to call it yourself is, strong is what happens when you run out of weak. And I saw that on Instagram. It didn't have any reference, although I'll Google it later to see if there is a reference to that quote so I can think. So strong is what happens when you run out of weak. when I add titles or those type of messages, it all depends on how I feel. Sometimes I'll just handwrite it. I'm just going to show you an example. Let's go. Sometimes I take out my black marker and just write it. Sometimes I do a little bit of both, of stamping and writing. But I do like this particular font, which I'll be using tonight, as well as the writing. This is Amy Tangerine set. I actually found it at HomeSense, which is the Canadian version of Home Goods, for $10, which I thought is a steal. And I saw that one of the things I saw from CHA is that the lowercase of this alphabet's coming out, so that's exciting. Oh my goodness, I apologize. Oh, so as I was saying, I use stickers, whatever suits your fancy. Usually whatever's around, but I did want to talk to you guys and use tonight. Well, Bella's got it chewed up, but I know it's been a long time since I've given a product review or been around or got excited about something, but Sharpie brush markers, yes, please. Might have been Jillian Michaels. That might be right. I'm going to Google it and find out later, Jillian Michaels, but oops, sorry about that. So anyways, Sharpie brush markers are absolutely awesome. Maybe it's any marker that's awesome, but I really like Sharpie brush markers. Okay, so I've let this sink in a little bit over here. Hey, Barb. Sorry, it's a little bit of lag. Jan. All right. I just dabbed it off a little bit. It needed a punch of something. So I like the way that looks. All right, pecan. Yeah, what's Vicky asking? I took my autofocus off. Okay, we can see. Sharpie brush. So I bought a whole pack. It was actually at Michael's for, not too bad of a price, actually. Once you, I don't know if it was buy one, get one half, or maybe I use it 50%, or, whatever going on. But they are very fun to use. If you've seen that ghosting video that Les Herger did on YouTube, I will link it. When I upload this to YouTube later, I'll link it below. You'll be able to see it. Ghosting with Sharpies. Love it. I love the brush. Okay, let's get back to my quote. Strong is what happens when you run out of weak. So how I plan titles, so I know that I have strong is what happens when you run out of weak. Strong is what happens when you run out of weak. 10 words, right? So in my mind, I start writing it, and I kind of just test drive it, I suppose. And then I just wing it after that. Strong is... No, see, then I know that that particular stroke is going to be too big. So, I think because the strong is what's important to me, I think I might stamp that separately, like maybe in bigger letters. So, I'm going to write is what happens when you run out of weak. Okay, strong. I just go for it. Strong is what happens when you run out of space. Oh no. I killed myself and I'm only laughing because I can't see you guys reacting to what I say. No, they don't. They don't come in white. Not that I've seen. Don't quote me, but no, they're not. They're just a regular Sharpie, but they do write over. You know, a lot of the problems with Sharpie markers is that sometimes if you're writing over craft paint or if you're writing over Gesso, they dry out. These don't, probably because they're a brush, so it's, you know, not a finer tip that's drying out or whatnot. Part of the reason why I like it. That I killed myself. Okay, strong is what happens when you run out of weak. Excuse me again, I apologize for this tickle. I'm okay with that. I obviously didn't practice. There's the flaw in my flaw in my system there. I didn't quite get it all in. But let's get something on there. Something strong in the strong section. Ooh, I have something even better. This is an older CTMH stamp set. I'm not sure if they make it anymore, but it's big. It's big. The letters are about 2 inches. I said when you run out of space because I was running out of space on the bottom. Anyway, the jokes just don't go well when there's a lag. I guess I just have to laugh at myself. Alright. However, I do like this set because, in fact, my wonderful friend Elizabeth got me this set as a gift. Alright, again, I have to remind myself to find my block, so I'm just using the back of my archival ink pad as my block. I'm just using black. The one thing I do like so far about these Dylusions journals is that they lay flat. So far, no matter what page I've worked on, it lays differently than a moleskin, a moly. Okay. One thing without having a block when you stamp and you're using the top of your ink pad is that you have no clue how close you are to how close your stamp is to the next one. I best not try to double stamp that. I'm just off stamping this for later. I was going to try to darken, sorry about that, I was going to try to darken this, but I think I'll just outline it. Outline it with my Sharpie brush pen. Okay, I'm sitting here looking around. What happened to my stamps? Where did they go? Get used to the lag. I don't know where, oh, here they are. So some things never change, you know. Losing items that are right in front of you. Alright, so this time I'm actually going to use, I'm going to stamp more than one letter at a time. And again, this is just me not wanting to stop and trying to find a block, an acrylic block, because I believe it's probably still in a drawer over there. I don't necessarily recommend using the top of your ink pad if you're looking for a perfectly stamped image, especially because this lid is actually slightly curved. But in a fix, on the go, it works just as fine. That didn't barely show it. Can you guys see it? Barely showed up at all. The ink pad, the lid idea is not working so well with a very dense stamp like that. Alright, my wonderful friends in the chat are saying that the lag, I will eventually get used to the lag. It's hard. Yeah, right. STRONG, the last three. And I'm just going to color them in with Sharpie. Can you hear the music in the background? It's just the radio or whatnot, but I don't know if you can hear anything now. The new place that I'm in now, we're on the same level. I don't have 2 floors anymore, so I'm not sure if you can hear the TV or the radio or whatnot. Night, Vicky. So, boy, oh boy. Alright, last one. Thanks to everybody in the chat that's helping out. Some viewers are having issues watching on iPads, and I really appreciate that. Excuse me. Alright, I got that foundation down. So lots of time I like to fill in with markers because I like my titles. If I'm going to use black, I like it to be really black, really dark. So I can just fill that in as we go. Yeah. So I'm just reading the chat here for a second. Alright, I'm not going to do this because it's 10:49 and we went a little bit over because of all the technical difficulties earlier, but you get the idea. I'm just going to fill it in. Then I like to go back over it. I did talk about these in an impromptu stream I had. I know it wasn't recorded, but these Bic Cristal pens, the 1.6 millimeters, oh, it's like, I don't know how to explain them. The best ever. If I liked Bic pens before, oh my goodness, do I like Bic pens now. So after I have it black, if I'm doing my own title like this, I do like to take a Bic pen and outline it. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. And we're not going to focus because I took it off autofocus. Let me pop it back on autofocus for a second. Alright, we'll see if this helps to show. There we go. Except I can't stay still now. Let me put my elbows down. But I do like to outline my letters again. And I use but I love the big pens because they write over absolutely everything. So I will outline that. And these new pens come in everything, but it's the regular pens worked well over everything. You guys know I love big pens, but this extra thickness, I just want to shout from the rooftops. I can't tell you how much I love them. But anyway, yeah, does that look... Yeah, strong is what happens when you run out of weak. I've gotten Diane Reevely's journal block. No. Is it a rubber, is it a a cling mount block? That type of thing? So, I still love and cherish my vintage Stampin' Up! Itty Bitty background set. And I still use it on every page, or 99% of the pages I do. Well, some form of the Itty Bitty stamp set. See, here we go again. I've lost my black ink pad. Oh, here it is. No, they're not gel pens. The big pens, it's a big pen, but it's thicker. It's a thicker nib, or ballpoint, I should say. So I just like to add this for a little bit of something. You bought a set of these for $2? Yeah, big pens. Come on, baby. Let's go. So the regular big pens that I've used forever, they look like this. So you know the difference between a 1.6 and the regular big pens, which I still love, because it has a white, the ink tube is white rather than, you know, seeing the color of whatever ink clear. I'll definitely have to check it out. Yeah, Itty Bitty is awesome. Okay. So anyways, I'm not going to finish it. And I know it looks kind of funny from there because there's a bunch of stuff around it, but just add that tiny little bit of Itty Bitty something. So I hope I've inspired you to use only one stencil in your next art journal page. You can use different supplies and different techniques with one stencil. And I would love to see it. Oh, step it up. It looks so funny like that. It looks so funny without me. And I might cover that. I think I might have messed up my R. So we'll have to see. Might have to like, yeah, I might have to cover that. But we'll go. We'll work through it later. I bought them at Walmart and not at the back to school time. You just got it in the Walmart in the regular stationery section. They are awesome, and they come in all the colors. Pink. Oh, where's the package? You just have to look. I just had the package. Bic Crystal Bold. And this one's color, so it comes with light green, which is not shown here, light blue, red. I have all of them, but this is just comes in 8 colors. Awesome. So instead of the medium, if you normally use fine, right? So they have fine, medium, or bold. So you want to get the bold. Now, for just writing on paper, I must admit, if I'm just writing, you get a lot of globs. That's for sure. You get a lot of globs if you're just writing. So I primarily just use it over top of things. So I need to work on this. I need to outline all my letters so they don't blend so much in the background and all that goodness. Yeah, you can get them at Walmart or Staples. You don't have to, but they're awesome. I like them so much better than Ink Joys. But Fred Meyer, wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Or that store. That's a flashback. Well, I appreciate everybody, excuse me, having to deal with this craziness of Ustream or my internet access, whichever one it happens to be. I'm so happy that I got to see you guys, and I'll be back. Hopefully we won't struggle so much on Saturday. I'm going to think positive. So Stencil Saturday's back, and so I'll see you at 9. The class will start at 9:30, and we'll have a little pre-chat at 9. Just going to catch up with the chat for a second. Excuse me.